And we are live. We've got welcome back to the X-Ring. We've got Rick coming in a minute, as well as Matt Pierce, and we just got done shooting the Fall Shootout Rimfire Challenge at VOD, and it was an awesome event put on by Chris Simmons. I think he is looking at doing an entire series next year. Basically a full format where they'll have a shoot off at the end of the year and everything else. But he said he didn't know there was going to be this many people. The event was completely sold out, and there were actually people on the wait list as well. So we got out there this morning at around 8 o'clock. They had zeroing starting at 8 o'clock till 8:30, and they had a 50-yard target set up, and we got a rifle zero. They were pretty much spot on this morning from the get-go. Of course, what we wanted to do is not only talk about how things went, but also tell you about what equipment we used today. Not just the stuff we talked about the other day, but what we actually used as opposed to what we took with us. So what we're going to do is we'll give it just a minute or so because we can get some of these guys in here. Matt's going to be coming in just a second. And I can talk about this Voodoo as long as we don't touch them. But the Voodoo performed flawlessly. I was very, very happy with the rifle. More on that in just a minute because I want to do a comparison between the Voodoo and also the CZ and this older 455, the one that I shot at the last match. It was a great time. Matt's starting to come in here now, and then we've got Rick over here. I think Rick is checking the comments so we can answer any of your questions.
Not there yet.
But first, big shout out to some of the viewers. You guys might be out there. Bill, I'll leave his last name out of it. Actually, it's his handle. So Bill Sweeney, Larry Palmer, Makev, got to meet all three of them, and Bill was able to get squatted with us. Super, super nice guy, man. It's just awesome how we can do this information sharing and meet people that we talk to on the channel, and putting a name with a face is always really awesome. Matt, you gonna come on over here? Okay. All right, so guys, this is Matt. Matt's been on a couple of my videos on my channel, and this was Matt's very first rimfire match. And before you say anything about the Bopsy twins, it's just the way it is. All right, so we all had gray jackets on today, and we had a blast. So Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you thought about the match, first rimfire match ever, and tell us what you think.
Basically, like you touched on earlier, first of all, huge shout out to the match director, Frank with VOD, for hosting and the facility. First ever 22 PRS style match. I had a blast. Probably the most fun I've ever had at a match in a really long time.
And you got to remember, it's not just an old man thing, because we're getting ready to be in our 50s. And Matt, you're pretty young, and so this is something that appeals to a broad range. I mean, we had everyone from juniors there all the way on up to, much older people. But this is a sport for everyone. I mean, I've done all types of shooting sports, like everything, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. So,
I'm hooked.
What makes it different than centerfire rifle or a PRS style match?
I liked being able to, when you're not dealing with the muzzle brake, the percussion all day. I like the aspect of, yes, we are shooting Ely 10X or Lapua Center X, but it's nice just to find a lot that works with these things, go out and shoot it. You don't have to fool with the whole sizing, reloading, tumbling, drying. The whole process is just going out, having a good time. The setups are relatively the same depending on if you're going with something like a Voodoo, CZ, some things change. I think Rick was running the RPR. Mag is a little bit different.
Bill was running the Bagara.
The Bagara, that was a really sweet setup.
I got the comments up just so now we can actually communicate with you guys. Get some questions here and here. See.
All right, continue. Is it harder than you thought it was?
Oh yeah. The target size. So I guess with the 22s, you don't need 7, 8, 900,000 yards. You just, in my eyes, you would really need 300 and in, 400 and in. Because some of these targets they set up were, they were dime, quarter-sized targets.
I'd say
quarter-sized targets. They seem like dimes to me.
Yeah, they look like dimes. Grains of sand.
It was hard, all positional. There was a couple prone stages, but that was more for like the ELR out to 396.
Yep.
Everything was positional, so it had it had that PRS type of feel to it, which it is a PRS 22, but yeah, it was a blast.
Now, Matt, you actually finished what place today?
5th.
Now, guys, that's 5th in open division. Now, not taking anything away from any guys or anything like that, but there were a lot of great shooters out there. People wearing jerseys, guys that are sponsored. And, you know, for Matt, his very first time being able to come in 5th place, I mean, that was an outstanding job.
Yeah, and another thing to touch on, you do see a lot of guys at these matches, even with the 3-gun, sniper, ruck style matches, and then even the PRS. You see a lot of these
Can't touch the rifle.
jersey wearing guys. Don't get intimidated. Everybody's there to help you. The squad we had, Squad 2, which I'm sure every other squad, super friendly, super helpful. Everybody had a great time. It's just a really good group of people to shoot with, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, like I said, you know, when we got there, we had this big bag, this huge duffel bag, and we had it with all those bags that we showed you guys the other day, all the support bags. And we told them right off the bat, if there's anything in here that you need, just make sure we get it back. Go ahead and use it for the stage.
Yeah.
But I want to really kind of focus on the bags we used. A lot of this stuff, I'm going to say it's frivolous. It is frivolous. Remember I said kind of keep it simple? Well, today kind of proved that because we figured we would take one bag, have everything we could possibly need, but we kept gravitating towards the same things. And guys, we did everything from shoot out of caged boxes to what they call the Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah. It was a fun.
Rooftop, tank traps, tires, barrels, stumps. So pretty much every position you think you might want to get in, there's an application for something. Now,
Modified VTAC board.
not to take too much time up, but Matt shot the CZ455. This is not a 457. This is actually a rifle that I bought for my daughter. She does shoot it, Mini X. And the only thing that's been done to it is a Mr. Fly trigger, which you can dial down to like 4 ounces or something. And I put the CZ enlarged bolt knob on there. A lot of people give me a hard time about that because they were like, oh, it looks like an 8-ball. What'd you think about it?
I love the setup. The trigger, it took me a little bit to get used to. I'm used to something with a wall and it just breaks. This one, it's got a little bit of a spongy feel and then breaks clean. It is a really light trigger.
Similar to the hand shoots that we shoot.
Similar, very, honestly, that's probably the exact same thing. The bolt knob itself, very easy to manipulate. I think the only issue I had today was shooter induced, and that was me maybe short stroking.
Yep.
And I caught that double feed, but that was on my part. Other than that, shot like a dream, ran like a dream.
Okay, so guys, where I'm going with this is this CZ455 that originally came with a wood stock was $400 or so, 400 and some change when I bought it. The only thing that I added to it with regards to the chassis, because the wood stock's horrible, you're not going to get that cheek rest like you need, is I put this MDT, this LSS-RF chassis on here, and I think this thing was only about 180 maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're just talking about the barrel action and the chassis, you're talking about an $800 setup. But yet, put it in the right hands, of course, you know, he's finishing 5th place overall in open division. That was the largest division. And, you know, you don't have to spend the $2,800 on the Voodoo. Now, that being said, I was very, very pleased with the Voodoo. No complaints whatsoever. And one of the things I do want to talk about is some people told me, you know, you might want to stay away from a full-size Remington 700 based action because it is going to have the continuity of a PRS full-size rifle. But in Rimfire, I can work this one a lot faster. I mean, a whole lot faster on the bolt. I mean, I'm not slow with this, but it is a full throw. It's supposed to feel like
90 degrees.
It's supposed to feel like a full-size rifle because it's a trainer. That's what it's set up. It's exactly like my other rifle. Yeah, of course, he did have, you know, great optic on here, the Night 47 to 35. He's got the spur mount on it, but he did really well. I mean, really, really well.
Added a couple weights to try to bring the front end back. The back end's a little heavy, but I don't really think it made a whole lot of difference today.
Yeah, so guys, we can't touch it, but what you see up here are weights. And so he actually has 4 sets of weights on it to kind of balance it out. I have the same thing over here on the XLR chassis. It actually has underbelly weights as well as 4, but it's balanced. If I were to lift it just in front of the mag well, it would just balance itself out. So it's it's going to be what you make out of it. I mean, he can finish in the top just like that with this. Rick, how did you do today? In production division, I think there were a total of 7 shooters.
7 shooters. I got third.
So 3rd place was good.
Yeah, good. I was kicking butt.
He was. In the beginning, he was on fire.
Hair
on fire and everything else.
First 3 stages.
And then what happened?
And then
you woke up.
I showed up.
No, he was killing it.
The train wreck.
Yeah, he was all over it.
Yeah, you know what? The biggest difference between shooting open, well, the only difference would have been for me is the scope. But the scope, having only, basically the turret only goes to 5, and then from there 0 is 6. You guys don't.
Yeah, no, we get it.
But the
Vortex Razor goes 10 mils before it goes back to 0, but the Diamondback that you bought goes to 6.
6, yeah, basically. But what I did notice shooting that, and it was a 30 millimeter tube compared to 34. I don't know if this was it or not. I was having problems seeing the reticle in the shadows.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. So let's talk about some of the gear. I actually used this 3 times. This is the one that I talked about the other night. It's the Coltac, and it has the backbone frame on it, and basically you just attach it to the Arca Swiss up front. And this bag has its place. We had one barricade that had some really narrow V-slots, and you're not going to get probably what we use more of than anything else, which is the X-rail changer with the Coltac bag on it. Guys, for shooting off of like tires, spools, rooftop. I mean, this thing was incredible. Didn't have to worry about grabbing a game changer. You could just put it right on the roof peak. It already has an indentation right there, so it kind of locks into place. So we use this probably more than any other bag, and Rick as well.
That one, yeah.
This one right here. So, and this was huge. It really made a big difference. And big shout out, you know who you are, for sending this in to us. We're definitely putting it to good use.
I haven't seen them in here yet.
But the problem is this can be too wide for a narrow V, and you're not going to get any support. So what I did was I used this in those narrow Vs, and I was actually able to loosen this Velcro, because you can make this really tight if you want and tension it where it has a lot more tension on it, and it's not as spongy, and this worked really well. Outside of that, what was the other bag we used the most?
I have to say
that was
the medium
right there.
sandstock right here.
What model is that spotting scope?
This is a Loophole Mark IV.
There you go. Trying to get these questions.
So this is a sandstock gear. You guys have heard us talk about this a lot. And the problem with using just a regular rear bag, and this one's really lightweight, is you can make it really thin. You can make it taller. You can make it really tall. And this is just a stupid versatile bag, all right?
Yeah, tall is the important part.
Yeah, because there are going to be some positions where you might have your bipod all the way up against the mag well so you can get on a small surface, and you might need something really tall to get it to level out. This is the smallest one they make. Like I said, we're not sponsored or given this stuff by Sandstock in any way. It's just I have a set, you have a 3 set, and you have a 3 set.
It's good stuff for sure. We've talked about it.
And then we use this a lot. This was a bigger pump pillow.
Not big enough.
To be able to, yeah, it's not big enough for what we want, but it does do a better job than trying to put these together. So these work. They worked well for us. Now, this one right here you've never seen before, and honestly, neither have we. Moo. This is the Bison Tactical Udder. Okay?
I gotta fill my coffee.
And we were required to use this on a tank trap stage, and they did not allow any other bags, accessories, or anything. You had 5 positions you had to shoot off of, basically 3 tank trap tops.
That worked really well.
Middle, and they would not allow any cheater bars, so we didn't even take it with us. It's been here this whole time. Yeah. And then one in the V slot. And whoever had the fastest time on the stage won this $126 bag.
And you notice it's here.
And yeah, it's here with us. And who won the bag? none other than Matt.
Matt walked away.
So Matt did it clean.
I gotta tell this story. Over
Matt
here.
did it clean in 54 seconds. I short stroked one of the chamberings, and I did it in 56 seconds. So Matt had the fastest time. I had the second fastest time clean, but Matt beat me. And what I did, the difference was, Matt actually had the rifle on here, would grab it, put it in position, grab it, put it in position. I actually used these straps here, strapped it to the rifle, so when I picked the rifle up, it was already ready to go in the next position.
And I want to touch on what you just said. I didn't use the straps due to the fact that I didn't know how tight they would get, the weight of the bag, and strapping it across the top of this barrel.
Because you don't have much handguard.
I don't have a handguard over the top, so I was afraid of pulling that barrel down and affecting my zero. As you can see on the XLR chassis, he has a top rail, so you could basically strap. The barrel's fine. You're not going to manipulate it in any way, shape, or form.
All right, get over here and read some comments.
All right.
All right. So the best story of the night.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
So you see Matt won this. He did a really good job of winning that. Placed very well. So if you guys weren't there or not familiar, these cards here, it was one of these for every shooter competing. And they were at 104 point something yards.
104.6.
6. So it wasn't straight at 100. It was something to kind of get you a little bit, have to really work for a good bullseye. And there's I think 40 of them out there because there's 40 competitors. And when you got done with the stage, you would continue and shoot one round. And this was to win
An Atlas bipod.
AccuShot.
Okay.
It was a $300 gift card, whatever you want to call it. So my number was 28. And you see that, I would assume, pretty decently. And everybody had one.
No, guys, it was for a B&T bipod for an Atlas, okay? This is called the AccuShot Challenge, but it is B&T Industries.
Oh.
So this is going to be for an Atlas bipod. Yeah.
Once again, I
that's
can't
what I
read.
thought.
That's where the story's going.
Well, there is that too. So, once again. So I get up there and I shoot 28.
Wait. When you get there, they give you a number. I was 27.
I was
28, and Matt was 29.
So I shoot, and what you're trying to do is you have to be inside that circle. You get a point for that stage. Now that stage is only one shot, and as long as you're in the circle, broke the line, you get the 1 point. Well, my pal Matt, it was his turn. He got done running the stage, and then he went over and shot his single round into
It was the ELR stage.
what he thought was his target, which was my target. And not only did he hit my target with a very amazing shot, but he actually won. Well, I won.
You won because it's your card.
I won this Atlas bipod, but since Knucklehead doesn't know how to read, I gave it to him. So
we just
congratulations.
Which, that's a $300 certificate,
$300.
guys.
And
We're
then
getting
this
started.
is $126. $126. This, and we should continue.
So, Matt, by coming in 5th place in open division,
He
what
won
did
more
you
shit
pull off
than
the prize
anybody else.
table?
Oh yeah, it's right there.
Lapua Center X.
All right, so he got a box of Lapua Center X 500 rounds. Now, this stuff costs like $11, $12 a box. There's 10 boxes in here, so there's another $120.
Well, I owe somebody a handful of them.
Yeah, exactly, but that's all right. We'll get that worked out.
But I did pick
Actually, the
up.
whole box.
I did pick up a Timony trigger that someone was selling at a really good price. So for my Ruger RPR.
All right, so
I got a score too.
so I was able to actually come in
Oh wait, I forgot about mine.
3rd place. Now, they announced it as 4th, but there was a discrepancy with the scoring. So I did win one of the nice trophies. They're going to have to mail it to me. But it is confirmed with the match director. I got 3rd place.
Trophy's
And yeah, I mean, I was thrilled to death because I was like, man, I want to be able to take home another trophy. It's awesome. But I was able to get, let's see here.
No, that one.
No, it's this one right here. It is the AccuTac $300
Bipod.
bipod. So they make one. I've never owned an AccuTac. I've heard a lot of good things about them. So I'm going to go ahead and get that redeemed. So we're getting on up there right now with stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
I'm talking
it
about
was a fun day.
great match. Big shout out to all the
Yeah.
sponsors.
Now I was down towards the middle. I was in the middle, right? Because they put everybody together, open and production. So when I got to the prize table, there was other cool stuff, but I figured if I get this, that'll have to motivate me just a little bit more. It isn't like worth a bazillion dollars, but it's the hereby awards lot testing of 122 Rimfire firearm with Lapua ammunition at the Lapua Rimfire Performance Center. So you can basically send your rifle in, see what it groups the best with, and then you can spend a bazillion dollars on a bunch of ammo.
Now, big shout out to Bill Sweeney because he actually picked up one of these off the prize table, and he's
Same
like,
thing.
"Can you use this?" And I said, "I can absolutely use it." Now, because of Matt and I's finishing, we were able to walk the prize table again, but since we'd already done that, and it's not all about that, we forewent that and said give them to somebody else or let them have them. One was like 50% off all reloading products, and then there was another one for I can't even remember, but it was
There
they
was
were
a
good
ton of stuff.
I
certificates.
think it was steel, some type of steel ammunition company for a percentage off.
Yep.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
that one.
So we
There was hats.
had an
all
unbelievable
sorts of
time. So now let's talk a little more about.
I'm gonna go put
What?
this in my trophy room.
There you go. You can hang it up.
I got my
Frame it.
optics one in there still.
So I'm not going to touch the rifle, but I'm going to touch this data card here. And I know I showed you guys this the other night. I actually used this as the opening screen. This was that e-paper. Now, they sent out the courses of fire the night before with yardages. I was able to input everything except for the dope for that day into this. So when I got to the first stage this morning, all I did was I spun up the Kestrel, got my dopes, and then for that temperature, I was able to go stage 3, input it, and there it was. This was the most valuable thing for me today because I spent probably a third of the time of anybody else trying to work on little data cards. Or, yeah, actually, I loaned this. This was that Sun Tactical armband. I loaned it to Matt, and just trying to do it with the paper and slide it in there. It was like enter, done, and that was
I
it.
used the heck out of that thing.
No,
today.
this really worked great. It was easy to maintain, but it did take quite a bit more time to manage and input data onto a piece of paper.
Wind conditions weren't bad.
No, they really weren't that bad today. 2 days ago, they would have been horrid. But there's something else I want to mention, and that is, I talked to you guys about these. You need to remember that in PRS or rimfire style matches, I don't think the binoculars, I'm going to kind of recant on what I said before in previous chats. I think for this match, the spotting scope is invaluable. And the reason is because it has the internal reticle. They don't allow any type of coaching. However, I can watch for Matt, or even if it's just another competitor, and when they start first shooting, if I need to see some assistance on wind calls, I mean, if I see this person shoot, maybe they're just holding center. I don't know because I'm not going to ask them, what are you holding or anything like that. I can see what the tendencies are on the plate and get a reading on how many mils it is. I can't do that with these binos. These binos will give me a distance, but I already know the distance. They've already given us that information.
Yeah.
So for this precision rimfire style match, that spotting scope is definitely going to be the winner for me over the binos. We only pulled the binos out a couple times, and honestly, it was when
stuff.
people couldn't find the targets.
They were so small. There
Yeah.
was one stick where, depending on where you're sitting, they're like, okay, do you guys see the targets? The first one is right by that tree right there. And I'm like, I see nothing.
Yeah.
And he could see it because he was 3 feet over.
And he's got young eyes.
And he's
Well,
got young
that's-
eyes. And I'm like, oh, it's behind the twig. Okay. They were tiny
I didn't
targets.
check that target in the road though.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kept telling
it's
them.
easy. Guys, one of the things about it is when they put these targets in an array and they say shoot near to far,
Hey, Bill's out here.
it's really easy
Bill,
to get
Bill
confused
Sweeney, thanks, bud.
on which target is actually the near target. So you need to get your sequence right. So in this one stage, there was a little quarter-size target at 35 yards. Then the next one is here at 58 yards. But then you had two here. Well, you could see them both, and they looked like they were on the same plane. But if you engage the further of the two first, it doesn't count. And there's no extra shots. If it's a 12 shot or a 10 shot or an 8 shot course of fire, that's all you can shoot. You could use a 15-round magazine. Big shout out to Chris for this. I was able to get one of these Voodoos. This is actually a full metal mag, aluminum mag.
That is nice.
Because there were 3 or 2 stages that had 12 shots.
I know 2 for sure.
Okay.
It's like now I get to know.
Well, these 10 round magazines, guess what? I'm gonna have to do a reload, and this is valuable time. I mean, you're pushing everything almost to the last shot on a 90-second stage. Whereas if you have a 12 or a 15 rounder, you don't have to worry about doing that reload. We want to try to answer any of you guys' questions. Maybe Bill can comment. Like I said, it was a pleasure meeting you today. But
actually, there was quite a few. I think pretty much everybody. We got Bill Sweeney out there. We got
had a good time on squad.
And Makev, Larry Palmer. Hey, we couldn't shoot with you guys.
Yep, Larry Palmer. So pretty neat.
All right, anything you want to talk about since this was your first time?
Hey, Joaquin.
Rick's sit as well, but
I guess for being my first time, the biggest thing was verifying on glass where your targets were. The last stage where basically my wheels fell off was I was too busy writing down into this, getting my dope inputted, and I never got behind a piece of glass to check all the targets. There was the one small one by the tree.
Yep.
And then I thought there was 4 more running down the left side. Well, they were running down the left side, except one of them was staggered higher. And when you were in the barricade, I'm looking for it. Rick's like, it's to the right. The RO says to the right. I was like, I don't see it. It's because it was above my line of sight. So take the time, look through the spotting scope or binos, and just make sure you find your targets. Because honestly, you dropped quite a bit of points due to that. And yeah.
Guys, if you can't close your eyes and visualize where every single target is on this course of fire, then you're not ready to shoot it. And you might say, well, what if you're the first shooter on that stage? Well, if you're not the guy that's always behind that everybody's waiting on, if you tell the RO, say, can I get just 2 or 3 more minutes since I'm the first shooter, I just don't have it here, I'm sure they'll work with you. I've never been to a match where they're just going to say, no, you've got 30 seconds or you're going to get penalized. It's not like that.
He was great today. He
was
perfect.
Yeah, super RO, but I mean, Chris is an outstanding guy, but you got to know where everything's at. Go ahead.
We got so Andrew Gun Guy says, how did the guys do shooting 10/22s? We had one that was in our squad, and they did decent. It depended on the positional shooting. He was on it quite a bit. But it was nice. You could see him. If he was on it, it was like bink, bink.
Yeah, the follow-up shots are really, really fast.
Quick.
But yeah.
He had some trouble, though, as well.
I've only done this twice. But I will tell you, he had quite a few malfunctions. And almost everyone that I've seen shoot 10/22s have malfunctions. And they're racking rounds out. I mean, I've owned a lot of 10/22s, but...
Seating the mag was one of them.
You know, the thing is you've got 90 seconds, usually. Having the semi-automatic is not going to give you a distinct advantage, I don't think. I think where you might lose some, and I could be wrong because I don't know much about 10/22s and customization as far as can you drop one in a chassis like this?
I don't know.
What I see are these plastic chassis or these wooden chassis, and I never see anything that's as modular as these for weight, placing things, Arca rails, things like that. And I'm sure you could modify one, but there was only a handful. And when I say handful, there might have been 5 10/22s, if that many. If that many. So if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and ask.
Smoky Mountain Boys is out there. Congratulations on that new baby, buddy. I haven't got a chance to officially say congrats. Let's see, Eric.
Anything else?
I think time for me, figuring out where I was, you could always ask the RO, can I get a time? And normally by the time you're asking, you're starting to think in the back of your head, I must be getting close. I think there's a couple stages for myself. I was just wanting to rush it and go too quick. The first stage of the day, I took my time and I was right at that cusp of getting timed out. So I wanted to speed up, and you just need to slow it down, make your hits, and just pay attention.
Yeah, there was that one time you said, how much time? About that much. Do you remember that? Yeah. About that much.
Well, and that's the thing with when he was shooting fast, I would ask to get him to slow down. He'd be like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, How much time's he got?
Well, it brought it into perspective
60
when
seconds.
they were like, "Oh, you got 45 seconds
Yeah,
left.
like,
and
slow
I
the
have
hell
2
down.
shots left on one target."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Take your
Yeah.
time." make
That
your
didn't
hit.
work out so well for you.
I missed the last shot.
You had too much time.
All
much
in all,
time,
you can get into this game relatively inexpensive. If you got a 1022, you can go out there and shoot it. If you've got some type of bolt gun that's a 22, you can get out there and shoot it.
Tons of CZs.
Yeah,
out there.
lots of CZs, guys. A lot of MPAs, a lot of Voodoos. But the one thing I'm going to tell you and share with you is you must buy quality ammunition. It's going to have to be something like SK. It's going to have to be something like Lapua. You can go out there with CCI standard velocity and shoot it. But I can pretty much guarantee you will not be competitive just because of the stringing you're going to get on some of these teeny tiny targets. We've tried it. We've played around with it. Everybody wants to pinch the pennies. You can get that, that bulk box of ammo. You're just going to miss too many targets.
Well, we had John out there. Did you already say that? Or
No, I didn't mention it, but
so John was shooting a decent ammunition or really good ammunition
match.
for plinking around, having a good time shooting targets and trying to make good groups. But the ammunition that he did have, you could hear it even with the suppressor. One shot would be normal sound, then there'd be this little puff, and that would be 5 feet.
Yeah,
low.
it would be way
So
lower.
it was very inconsistent when it came to. So that's what you pay for, I guess. Mackie says, John, I won't say his last name. I guess it's already in here. John Cole, who was right behind you in fourth, is Chris's shooting partner.
Yes. So
he's running matches in Burlington.
Yeah, guys, there's something else that Chris shared with me. Now, remember, this is coming from someone that right now is ranked number 1 in the United States in NRL 22. He said, Ray, you did really well today, but you need to take that suppressor off of there. And I said, Are you serious? And he said, yeah. I said, even a Thunder Beast, they're known for precision. He goes, your groups are going to tighten up. Which is crazy. I don't understand that because the thing, I know, because what am I going to do? Put them in the same hole? But he told me, he goes, you will do better if you get rid of the suppressor and just put the thread protector back on. I am not going to be one to argue with him as much as I like to shoot suppressed. Tonight, as soon as I get home, that suppressor is coming off. I'll put it on something else, and this will just be the precision rimfire competition rifle the way you see it, less the suppressor. The Burris Xtr3, I've never reviewed it. This is the second match that I've shot with it. The first match, I actually had it on this CZ. I took third place with this setup with the Burris Xtr3. I took third place today with the Xtr3. I am extremely thrilled about that optic. It is not like the XTR2. It's XTR2, there's nothing wrong with it, but this glass is clearer. There's no doubt about it. Price point is higher.
I can tell you for sure it's clear.
But there's so much more to this. Just with the throw knob, with the speed dials that I've got for it, just the knurling, no problems with tracking. I'm really, really, really excited about the XTR3. It worked well for me. Got to have a level. You must have a level. I don't care if it's a Spirit level or one of these
What
LRAs.
ammo did you shoot today? Carry Imori says.
I shot Lapua Cinerex, and it was all same lot. I made sure that I zeroed with it. I knew exactly where it was at. And when I zeroed this morning, when we did zero confirmation, there was no wind, and it was about 1/8 of an inch to the right. So on all the smaller targets, I favored a little left of center. Because some of these targets, like I said, are about the size of a quarter. But if it was at about 50 yards, I knew that it was off just a hair, and we zeroed them out perfectly yesterday.
When I zeroed this morning, I think it was like
32 inches low, you said.
No, degrees. 30. It was 38, something like that. It was cold.
Yeah.
36, 38.
But you said
I was down. I was low 2 inches.
2 inches at 50 yards.
And we had just
because of
zeroed.
the temps.
Yep. So I was like, this isn't good. This isn't a good way to start off the match. Got Pops Quest out there. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, no 45 auto. I wish I could send it to you, but no, that'll definitely stay. I love the Thunder Beast suppressors. I'm not going to say surprised. I was actually disheartened to hear him say that because I just love the suppressor.
Oh, look at this.
So quiet.
Cameron says that he's tested it both ways on the Voodoo, and the suppressor shoots better with the suppressor. It's close, but it's definitely better. I think it all depends on your gun.
Well, see, this is the thing, Cameron. I was of the same mindset because I've done a lot of testing with these suppressors, and it seems like it makes it tighter. But with Chris also shooting the Voodoo and knowing this, they said they've done extensive tests with it. I don't know if he means Voodoo or himself, but based on his credibility, I'm going to listen to him, and I'm going to take the suppressor off of there.
The match was won by Kevin Shepard.
Now, I don't know Kevin Shepard, but the entire match,
He crushed it.
he dropped 5 points. That's
Amazing.
it. He missed five targets
shots.
out of 100.
95.
So, don't know who he is. I know there were a lot of guys that are continuing on tomorrow to shoot a match in Tennessee.
I heard some
We
stuff
didn't even know
Tennessee.
about it, but yeah,
It's
they
probably
just...
a good thing we didn't know about it, really.
Yeah, because we'd be there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because that's not very far away. Well, it depends on where in Tennessee, but
Yeah, no, we can make it. We can make it to Tennessee pretty
we
quickly.
could have stopped in Cherokee
Yeah, there we go.
and then kept on going,
That's
baby.
right. That's right. Jeez. Well, you guys have any other questions before we shut it down? Because I'm sure Rick will probably go live here in a little bit. It's been 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
I'm not
live
gonna
at
shut it
9.
down quite yet, but just want to
yeah.
answer any questions that you guys might have, equipment related or anything else, and I'll
This
definitely
worked.
sign up for the next one.
This worked good.
Yeah.
I like the rice over
Yeah, the
sand.
rice is definitely the way to go for me because I don't have sand that's all in the bag.
That's yeah.
Well, we
that was-
used the Charlie Brown tree. We ran the
Oh,
Game Changer.
guys, he's not out there right now. I don't think. So some of you guys, at least on my channel, know about this. This is it's a tripod, and it's a shorter tripod. The Death X Squad, something that helped do a little bit of testing and evaluation with. And I actually used this on one of the stages. What was the cage one called? Cage or something?
Yeah, cage. I think.
Cage. Use
Clean
this
it.
and clean the stage. Hit all the targets, so it worked out great. So
And it's funny how everybody comes up with different ways to approach a stage. For
Yeah.
me on that stage, it was a big mesh wire grid, and you had to shoot from the top of it.
it was one of those
So
water.
you can't use a
containers.
bipod because your legs are going to go straight through the holes.
Yeah, I slapped
So-
this baby right on there, and ba-bam!
What I chose to do was throw something big enough that wouldn't go through the slot and just laid the rifle on top of it. I think you did the same thing.
Yeah, and then ran the bipod.
And then read the bipod once you got inside the cage. So you can shoot it with any bag that you think that'll work best for you.
That's what I did with this. I ran the
Correct.
bipod as well. I
Yep.
ran this in the rear, and then when I got to the other portion of the stage, brought the legs down. I think is how I did it.
Yep.
So it worked great.
All right, any other questions? Guys, if you hadn't hit that like button, go ahead and hit it for me. You know, like I said, I'm starting to do a few more live chats here and there. I'm trying to give you a little bit of notice.
What brand were the bags? We got
Okay, so this is sand sock gear.
yep.
You can buy the individual, medium size, small, or buy it in a 3-bag set
Cold tack.
with the cold tack backboard. This is a cold tack, the canvas wax bag, and then this piece right here will accommodate, and for those that watched it before, this will accommodate a multitude of different bags. You just take it off, you can slide an next one on. We didn't use the Area 419 one. This is made by Area 419. And then this is an Armageddon gear. This is a Game Changer. We did see a lot of fortune cookies out there.
Oh yeah, a lot of fortune.
Yeah, a lot of fortune cookies.
Medium.
And then that is the Bison Tactical Udder.
Utterly ridiculous. This thing worked really well.
Yeah, for the tank trap, I
That
thought
worked.
it worked really well. That
I've
was,
tried a couple different
that was
ones,
a
and
good
that
bag
one
for
worked
tank
better
trap.
than the ones. I don't know whose they were, but
it didn't slip.
no, did well. 1 mile from Shelby High School.
All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this live video. I appreciate everyone that watches the channel. Big shout out once again, Bill, Makev, Larry Palmer. It was a pleasure meeting
Yeah,
you
it's a
guys
pleasure
today.
meeting you guys.
Really fun.
Big shout out to Chris
A lot of
Simmons, the
fun.
match director,
Yeah,
Frank,
awesome
over at
job.
VOD, and everyone that helped put the
There's
match
John.
together.
There's John.
And John Kreiderman
Oh
is...
yeah.
You did decent, my friend.
Yeah, you did well. He did
did
better
well.
than he did last time. He actually needed a data card holder,
And
and he got
won
one off the prize table.
That's right.
So big shout out to all the sponsors. I hope you guys have a great weekend and great week coming up for Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you soon. Have
See
a
you
good
on
one.
the next
Have
one.
a good one.
All right. And we'll be live in 30 more minutes on Is Your Six Covered?